Hello.
Hello. You will be
Brought my
our,
stuff.
yeah, you brought your stuff. You'll be our citizen speaks. All right, so we're called to order. Second, recognize any members of the general public who would like to speak. So you can just stand up there and show us your voice.
And what is your name?
Paul Reedy.
Paul Reed. And are you just a private citizen or something? Or?
I'm a member of the Harwich Climate Action Network and a resident of Harwich. I made copies of the message that I sent to you this morning.
Yep, yep. And I can, so everybody have one of these. Thank you.
Of course. So let me quiet.
The lights on.
Have a little show and tell.
So it's Reedy, R-E-D-D-Y, right?
R-E-E-D-Y.
R-E-E-D-Y.
So in April, the Climate Action Network sponsored an Earth Day event down at the 204, and there was a, I don't know,
You were there? I was there?
yeah, there's a bunch of people who were present, so this may not be new to everybody here, but what I'd like to do is just briefly walk you through it. The reason is that we are interested in continuing to display this exhibit at various locations around the town, including some town buildings. And I would want you folks to be in the position of understanding what's in it and what these numbers are, in case there's any question about whether this is legitimate information. So this idea comes from the notion of climate action as a concern in Harwich, but what has been done, what has happened, what are the steps that have been taken. And so we started looking around at some of the various issues, and we divided it up into two sides, things that Harwich residents are doing, and then things that the town itself, including town government, has addressed. And so on the residential side, or on the citizen side, we looked at electric vehicles, heat pumps, solar rooftop power, and then weatherization efforts, because all of these are steps that residents can take to help address or reduce their use of fossil fuels here in town. So this first table here is from something I did not previously, in fact I think it's fairly new, but it's called the Harwich or the Massachusetts Vehicle Census. And this is an online database sponsored by the Commonwealth where they have tabulated, where they've looked at the registration data from the Department of Transportation to understand how many electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and gas vehicles there are in the state. And then also, in addition to that, they have cross-tabulated it against inspection records. So every year when you go to have your car inspected, they want to know what your mileage is, and they write that down. And so now the state knows how many miles gas vehicles drive, how many miles electric vehicles drive, and so on. And they've broken this down a dozen different ways on this vehicle census. And you can filter the data out town by town, which is what we did here. Oop, I'm sorry. Behave. There we go. So in Harwich, as of January 1st, 2024, there's 12,000 private vehicles, 575 hybrids, and just over 100 electric vehicles. When you look at the commercial vehicles, 1,400, 10 hybrids, no electrics at all. And then this table here, where the numbers I understand are way too small to read, but the columns here represent vehicle type, commercial, municipal, passenger, state vehicle, and then the totals. And this I found personally illuminating, I guess the word is, because by far the biggest number of vehicles in Harwich are private vehicles. And so if we're going to make really meaningful reductions in the use of fossil fuels regarding vehicles, the target should be private vehicles. I think we have a total of 79 municipal vehicles in the town versus 12,000 private vehicles. So as Harwich residents adopt hybrid and electric vehicles, we'll make much bigger inroads in reducing fossil fuels than we ever would, even if every truck, motorcycle, car, what have you, that the town owns was converted to being fully electric.
I believe you got this information from the same site I went to, but there's also information out there on the number of level 1, level 2, level 3 chargers in the state also, breaking out by town. And, the numbers are shocking because level 2, right, that's the one that most of them are, and level 3 is. So there's hardly any level 3s, but there's also very few out here on the Cape of any chargers. So if I was to make a recommendation, that all this is great, I would add information, which would be the number of charging stations there are on the Cape
Public.
by town,
Yeah.
public,
Yeah.
and so that you can see you've got this many electric vehicles, but you only have this many charging
I
stations.
think that, as most of us would probably agree, that's the biggest sticking point in getting people over the hump to buying an electric vehicle, is they look around, particularly on the Cape, and it's like, well, there are no charging stations.
And we
Now-
can't get the selectmen or the board or anybody else to move off of it either.
But it's good that, like Jacqueline, she has one, you depend on charging mostly at home,
Yes.
unless you're traveling.
And that's what most electric vehicle
Right.
owners do.
Right.
They
Yeah.
charge at
I
home.
heard wrong.
So-
Could you share this with us? Send
Oh, yes, yeah. Actually, I should explain. This is a Google Slides thing that we just printed out and set up as a poster. And I'd be happy to.
Just send me the Google Slides and I'll dispense.
Terrific.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, this is same data, only it goes back to the year 2020. I think that's the first year that this vehicle census covers. And so we're up to, if we count both hybrid and electric vehicles, 5.7%. It's obviously much lower for full electric vehicles and so forth. But if, I don't know that there's a state goal for getting people to adopt electric or hybrid vehicles.
According to the climate legislation that was passed a couple of years ago, they don't want any more gas-powered vehicles sold in Massachusetts after
35.
35.
Yeah.
So-
35, yes.
Yeah,
Net
so
zero 2035.
you could still have used gas vehicles, but at that point, and to be honest with you, it's hard to visualize that at this moment in time, but that's what
Yes.
the state goal would be.
We can see how slowly
Right.
it's trending up. And even if we were to, by 2030 get to 50, we got a big climb
Right.
ahead in terms of getting people to adopt.
But things can change dramatically.
Well,
The
One way or the
opposition
other.
that we're feeling could go
so
One way or
disappear.
the other. Okay,
Now-
so heat pumps. Yeah.
Maybe
Heat
we need to
pumps.
play in all this, weather every day now is a fire here, a deluge of rain, and keep playing that this is a climate action thing, and the way to help stop this stuff is to get these electric vehicles on the road and maybe do some, make some change to it, or just doesn't do nothing and put your hands in your pockets and just say, oh gee, what's happening, or something like that. Maybe we need to relate the two, do you think?
He knows this.
He knows us. We're preaching to the choir here.
That's right.
Heat pumps.
That's the presentation he's making.
with heat pumps, the way we determined this was through Cape Cod or Cape Light Compact and National Grid. Mass Save has a database where they have tons of information about all sorts of climate action and drives towards decarbonizing residential facilities. They just break it down 100 different ways. There's tons of information. But when I spent a fair amount of time trying to go through to find out how many heat pumps are there in the town of Harwich, they did not break it down that way. And I sent a message to Cape Light Compact.
She's gonna look for you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I gave him that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's me.
It's you. Brianna gave us the number right away from Cape Light Compact, and then I sent a letter to National Grid, the representative who's on
Right.
the whatever that board is, the state board that oversees Mass Save, and I think they communicated with Cape Light Compact about this, and they agreed to give us that number as well.
Yeah, good.
And they also said that they are considering making public this town by town
We should.
adoption of heat pump data. So anyways, going back to 2019, at least 727 homes have installed heat pumps. And this is based on incentives that they received as a result of doing that. So it's conceivable that there's more heat pumps out there.
Is that Harwich or people in Cape Light Compact?
That's Harwich.
That's Harwich.
And how many homes are there?
In Harwich, probably close to 10,000. Since 1 or 2 family homes.
But somebody, like you were saying, somebody could install like a mini split without going through Cape Light Compact or,
Right.
you know,
Right.
So that
had
number
kind
can
of
be
money,
doubled.
just do it.
It could be higher, but
But you can't get that data.
my,
There's
no.
no way to get
And
that data.
well,
Well, I know that my church is, put up on 137, they just put all these mini splits all over this, they redid the whole
yeah,
inside there, so I don't know whether that's counted in this kind of a thing.
not in this number.
But they
This
have
is
solar collectors on the
Not
roof.
just residential?
So-
right. Yeah, this is just 1 and 2 family homes. So yeah, I'm sure the commercial businesses and so forth and
St. Peter's Lutheran Church on 137, they got solar collectors and they've had them on there for years, and they use that to generate the power for the mini splits.
yeah.
All right.
It's a sweet system. So this is our heat pump situation. And also the other thing that we don't know in that number is how many of those homes are completely dependent on heat pumps for their
Yeah, versus just
wintertime
air
heat.
conditioning.
So
or
for example, at
something.
my house, we have heat pumps, but we've got it for the air conditioning. And we still have a gas furnace. I think I figured out that my gas use is about half of what it used to be, which is a good thing. But we haven't fully given up our natural gas connection either. This goes back to 2020 when town meeting approved a resolution asking the town to declare a climate emergency and so forth. Solar power. This information comes from the Harwich Building Department. They have to get a building permit anytime they do a solar installation. And the building department was very cooperative about helping me to understand how to get this information out of their online databases and so forth, so they were a big help. But this goes back to 2004, much farther than the earlier data. But again, up to 827 single-family homes now have panels or some type of solar array that they're generating power with. And then finally, and I really like this number, when people do weatherization projects, and again, there's all sorts of incentives for this because it's energy reduction, so good thing all the way around. They have to get a building permit for that. And you can peruse the building permit records to determine how many people have done that. And this is closing in on 3,000 now.
Is that how you came up with that number?
This is from building department records. Yeah.
You might want to put a footnote on that.
Yep, they're
There are some
Credited,
weatherization.
right?
I'm sorry.
There are some weatherization things that they do without building permits, like going around sealing the top of the basement and
just
stuff.
about any time if you ask Mass Save or Cape Save or any of those to come do that type of project, they will pull a building permit on it. So,
'Cause, I mean, I've had them in here and they've sealed the top of my basement and they put some
Yeah.
pieces of fiberboard up in the attic to seal the cathedral ceiling off from the other section. But I never saw any building permit.
neither did I, but I looked it up and there's my house.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought because I didn't see it, it wasn't posted. There's no.
Yeah, they just do it like that. I think they can do it under express permits now, so it can all be done online. They don't need to really
But
do
they
anything
charge you.
about it.
No, we never
No.
got charged.
Not if you do
No,
it through
I
Cape
don't
Light
think
Compact.
We never got.
Yeah.
Really?
But they're not doing it for free, so Cape Light Compact
Oh, yeah.
is paying for that
Yeah,
permit
well,
to be pulled.
I always paid when I had Cape Light Compact come to, Rice come to my house. I always had to pay.
Not the whole full price though.
No, of course not.
So that's the resident side. And over here on the town side, we looked at you folks, the Climate and Energy Committee. That's a very important step that Harwich has taken. And then some green community issues, just trying to explain to people what it's all about and so forth. How you get to be a green community, And the big step was adopting the stretch code back in 2019. I know you guys have spent a lot of time discussing that. Doing the zoning work necessary for the solar farm up next to the landfill. There's actually a zoning area next to the landfill that's approved for that as well. And then setting this goal of reducing energy use 20% over 5 years. And that's another thing I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about. In the process of looking at that question, I found out that the town has to submit an annual report to the state regarding what progress they're making towards meeting that 20% energy reduction goal. And I talked to the coordinator for green communities in the Southeast region. I think her name is Lisa Sullivan. And she said there's a report, but it's like an Excel worksheet.
Spreadsheet.
It's like 15 tabs long. She says nobody's going to want to look at that. Take my word for it. So I said, I'll take your word for it. She said she would be willing to do a summary of it, but she would need the town's permission to do that.
But to just anecdotally, we had Sean Libby come and talk to us a while ago,
Yeah.
and we asked him that question because he's sort of been in charge of because he's the buildings facilities manager. He worked very closely with getting the grants to upgrade heating and cooling systems
Right.
through the Green Communities Act. But he was of the opinion that the town's not going to reach 20%, and he was good with it, he said, well, we did what we could,
He didn't even know what we had achieved as far as I could say.
Well, I mean, he knew,
He
and
never
then,
gave us a number.
I talked to, who did I talk to at Cape Light Compact?
Laura Selmer or Margaret?
Margaret. I talked to Margaret, who at the time was the one that helped us. Well, she did all the work actually. She filled out all the forms and everything because the town certainly wouldn't do it. And so I asked Margaret, is that going to be a problem if we don't meet this 20% goal? What happens? And she said, to be honest, there's not any sort of like punishment there's really it's a sort of an on your honor system, and if you don't make it, you don't. The state is not going to do anything to the
They're not
town.
going to claw back that $300,000.
No,
but
right.
It would seem that it would
Make
affect
it hard for you to get-
negatively
right.
If the town applies for new grants.
Right, exactly.
Those circumstances.
But also, and help me out here, Brianna, is green communities, isn't it morphing into something else? I mean,
It is.
Yeah.
It's called community leadership.
yeah, it's
Climate community leadership, something like
Yeah,
that.
so
But it's a new one. And actually, the bar is higher
yeah.
than for green community
Yeah.
for towns to participate.
So that's something this community can think about, is looking at, what have we done, finding out about that program,
Right.
and when does this sunset, and when does that one sort of be the new standard, and, do we think we can get.
So my specific request is that I would like to continue to try to get access or get a summary of this annual report to include it, in the exhibit as we continue to develop and update the exhibit. And it seemed to me that I actually had to call CVEC to figure out, who should I
Right.
who should I ask about this? Because I couldn't find anything in the annual report, the town's annual report, about who is the coordinator.
What is it that you're actually asking for?
The state has said that they would provide a summary of the annual goal or of Harwich's progress towards meeting its energy reduction goals if the town approves it.
Right.
So as far near as I can tell,
You would have to go to a selectmen's
the two
meeting,
entities
yeah.
would be either Sean Libby, and I
Yeah.
was going to address a similar
Right.
correspondence to him,
Yeah.
or the committee here, which is why I
Well, you just mentioned CVEC. What is it that you'd be looking for from
I,
CVEC?
He was
I
just
could
getting
not
information.
find out, looking at like the town website and published town information, who was responsible for green communities.
Right.
And so the nearest I could, the way I found that out was by talking with somebody at CVEC.
Right.
And I think they
If
named
you-
Sean Libby.
If you can shoot me an email with the contact information of the woman who's looking for permission,
Certainly.
then I can tell her that we are the Energy Committee and that we would definitely like to have that information.
Right.
And if that's enough, then she can send it and we'll CC it to you guys and,
Right.
We
Now-
need somebody like the town administrator to say it.
We might.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
we'll see.
We
you know.
can't just say.
She needs to be more
I think what you're
specific.
saying is we just can't say we need it. Is that right?
We might.
Well, I can't say that I would
Right.
like it. She told me that I would need
The
support
town.
from the town.
So
Right.
the
So-
town,
Yeah, you need to see if she can be a little more specific when she says the town.
Yeah.
Does she need an elected official, like a select board approval, or can it be a town committee, like the Energy Committee?
She did send me like some follow-up
Yeah,
information of that vein.
yeah, okay.
And she actually said Cape Light Compact is involved with
Always.
submitting these reports and
Right.
developing the reports, and that some towns do request updates or summaries
Mm-hmm.
from Cape Light Compact, but it depended upon the MOU, which took me 3 minutes to figure out.
Memorandum of
Memorandum of
Understanding.
Understanding. Okay, I got it. And so I was like, all right, this is getting weedy for me.
Yeah.
So I haven't pursued Cape Light
So
Compact.
can Cape
for this
Light Compact
question.
just send it, you know, I mean,
I'd have
Yeah.
to know what
Yeah.
exactly specifically, and it would go to Laura.
Laura?
Summer.
it's Laura Net, what,
Yeah.
what's her last
and
name?
I'm the CVAC rep, so if you need anything from CVAC, just
Who's the last name?
throw me an email.
They were very
LMER.
cooperative.
Maria's good.
Yeah.
Update. I'll try to talk to Laura and see what she knows, because it's probably gonna come from her anyway, you know? So why go through another layer of, because
Yeah.
I'm sure that Laura sends it to the state, and then the state would send it back, and, you know,
Yeah.
so I'll check in with Laura at Cape Light Compact and see if we can just get an update. I think we've gotten them before, you know, but on the big Excel sheet, you
There's
know.
usually an annual report
Yeah,
that's done
yeah.
for the green communities that each town files, so.
Yeah, and the Laura Sullivan, the Green Communities Coordinator, she said some towns do request
Right.
updates and, you know,
Right.
presentations, and they
Right.
do that, but it would be the town that
right.
had to initiate the
Um,
request.
So I'll talk to Laura Selmer
Yeah.
at Cape Light Compact.
And one final thing, even in the few months since we did this, my memory has gone a little blinky on this, but I did want to bring it up. But this bullet right down here, ensure that builders follow the stretch code. And I know that has been an issue that you folks have discussed in the
We've
past
discussed
as
it,
well.
and we were, the information we were given, and that I have subsequently seen at the state level, is that July 1st is when they're going to be
Yep.
enforcing it. The building inspector here, I know he said he would do whatever he needed to do, but that he didn't feel confident, you know, that all the builders had had an opportunity to
Learn about it.
learn about it, you know, or to
Right.
understand it. So July 1st, I mean, I think that's when it's supposed to start.
Well, again, I think this was, like I said, I'm getting
Right.
foggy on my details here, but I believe it was with the conversations that I was having with the Green Communities Coordinator. She said that, you know, they have to do what they call these HERS
Right.
ratings now. And apparently there is a national database where HERS ratings are filed and compiled and so
Right.
forth. And the state has access to that. It's not open to the public. I've tried.
Right,
No dice. But the state does have access to that, and if they get a locality that has submitted results where the HERS rating is above 50, which I believe is the magic number, they can follow up on that to find out why. And she said sometimes, you know, they found out that it's just for completely non-relevant reasons and not a concern at all. But the state does have a means to check on that question of how well are people doing in terms of complying with that stretch code.
Talking about that, the affordable housing article that was in the Chronicle this last week, talking about the three bids that they had, three estimates that they have received. The group headed by Valentine. Does HCAN follow up that?
No, we're not involved.
Yeah,
with
I just
that.
haven't, I've been, I'm working now, I haven't had, I'm not free to go to their meetings.
Because that's a scenario
We're
where
not
we
supposed to
could.
communicate with them and ask them if they're following these energy systems?
The only thing that Larry told me was that in the RFP, they stipulated that the units that are built be energy efficient.
Yeah.
I don't know if they gave it any more,
Specificity.
but they would have to build them at least to code. I
Right.
mean, so,
Hers.
yeah, so they'd have at least that, but they could do more. I mean,
Yeah,
if
it
they're brand new
doesn't-
builds,
It doesn't mean that they're gonna put in heat pumps, it doesn't mean that they're gonna put in
Right.
solar panels, just
But
means
I would
that-
hate to have a whole brand new,
That's critical.
yeah. But anyway, that's another topic. We can discuss that, because we have
Yes.
another person
So,
to go.
just to give you an idea of what we have in mind, I haven't approached any, locations around the town or any, but, if there's a town event at the community center, we might seek permission to show the poster there to anybody who might be, like to take a look. I was gonna try the library, the 204, places where.
Have you checked with the TV station?
No, actually, the TV station is on my list,
Yeah,
because
good.
again, this is a Google slide, so
Right.
it can be presented electronically.
Right.
And I know, sometimes when I'm watching Channel 8 and all the slides that they show up, sometimes they have a few that are environmentally related. So I thought perhaps what we would do is
Rather
not try to
than-
present the
yeah.
entire poster, just,
Right.
say, residents are stepping up.
Yeah.
Here's the electric vehicle
Right.
situation in Harwich.
And you
so
can
forth.
talk to them and you could do it, they could interview you with those slides in the back so you can explain them. The slides on their own are probably not very self-explanatory. Or you can chunk it into little, almost commercials,
Right.
How is Harwich doing with electric vehicles? And just have a little
2 or
blurb.
3 slides,
Yeah,
that's it.
and then-
And let it run for a
How
few
we doing
weeks.
on heat pumps, that
Yeah,
type of
then
thing.
take a break for a couple months and then try some other aspect of Davis.
In theory, we're having an energy talk June 22nd, that's a Saturday, at the community center, so you'd be welcome to bring that with you.
If you're gonna be there, Laura's gonna be there.
Okay, I can't be there. One of you is going to have to be there that Saturday. I'm
This
working.
coming Saturday.
Yeah.
If not,
Yeah, I can just call her.
Tatiana and Laura will both be there, and
Okay.
as long as just someone at the community center.
Are we supposed to bring something with us?
That's fine. So
Pardon?
no one will be there.
Yeah, I think somebody will. be.
Ourselves.
So who's available June 22nd?
At what time is it? 11?
11 to, just 1 hour, just 11 to.
I will be there.
Okay. More the merrier, Good. You both
Are
can
we
be there.
supposed to bring something with
No,
us?
just show up, and I'm going over there
No
tomorrow
handouts
just to
or
make
any-
sure everything's
no
all squared
handouts or
away.
No slides or nothing, or?
Cable Light Compact brings everything, it's a plug and play, you're just there to look good.
Okay.
Okay, so it starts at 11.
Starts at 11, be there a little bit earlier.
That's this Saturday, right?
This Saturday,
Right.
community center, you can bring that. Check with the TV station. But I, also, at the end of the year, I have to write an annual report to the town. It goes into the
11.
town booklet
At the-
thingy.
To
So
what
we
time?
should get together before then, and I can include some of these things in, particularly what the town things,
And actually, the summary of the green communities, well, we talked a little bit about
Right,
this
right.
at the,
probably should go in the
Birthday
book
thing.
too, yeah.
yeah, that seems to me to
Yeah.
be
So I just need
perfectly
to
presented in
keep
the
that in
town.
mind. Then it's codified in that book, and
So thank you very much.
thank you.
So what is the name of the lady that is going to run the show on Saturday?
If you want to join our committee, we'd love to have you.
Nicanella
you
and
guys work way
Laura
too hard for
Selmer
me.
will both be there.
So,
Bye-bye,
Thank you. Well,
And we're just gonna jump down to where it says updates from CLC.
Alrighty, well, thank you.
This is Brianna, by the way.
For
You're-
having me.
yeah.
What is your name?
Brianna, Briana.
and your last name?
Kane, Kane.
What was the last name?
Kane, Kane. And I'm the implementation manager overseeing the energy efficiency programs at Cape Light Compact. So I'm gonna go through this at a good pace. Pause if there's anything you want me to slow down at. So the Cape Light Compact is the municipal aggregator. We were created in 1997 through deregulation. We have 3 pillars of the program offerings: power supply, energy efficiency, and consumer advocacy. So we have 100% renewable power supply for Cape and Vineyard residents and businesses. So if someone signs up for an electric account, they're put on our power supply rate, and anyone that was on the power supply rate and hasn't changed was rolled over onto the compact power supply rate. Consumer advocacy, we want to make sure that the Vineyard and Cape's interests are met for, whether it's something at the canal plant or that energy efficiency dollars are returned to the Cape and Vineyard and that we administer them. So that is some of the consumer advocacy that we do, intervening on rate cases to make sure, customers' needs are met here on the Cape and Vineyard, time of use rates, etc. And then energy efficiency is where I live, and pretty much everything we push forward to make residents and businesses more energy efficient.
Mhm.
So I also want to give everyone a quick update that power supply rates are changing.
Going up, up, up?
No,
Down.
going down.
This is the time of year it goes down.
Yes.
Ah, well,
It-
We always look
time
forward
of
to
the
summer.
year.
Yes, so we actually are quite a bit lower than Eversource right now on their basic rates. We have new rates that go into effect July 1. So when you get that next bill, it may or may not be updated depending upon the timing of when your bill comes. But definitely when you get your August bill, it would reflect the new rates. So for residential, we are at 13.098 cents
This is all on their website, by the way.
for KWH.
Mhm.
And we currently are at 15.522, so a pretty significant reduction.
Mhm.
Eversource's basic service rate for this next 6-month period is 15.772. So again, significantly lower
Yeah.
there. So really great news on that front. Customers can check their electric bill on that second page of their electric bill to see if they are with Cape Light Compact, and on our rate, it would say Next Era Energy Services.
Why such the difference between Cape Light Compact and Eversource? What's the explanation?
Better negotiators.
That could be the answer.
It typically is how you blend and buy and the timing in which you do it.
So Cape Light Compact actually has a team of people that does this.
So we have a power supply contract that we go out to RFP for, we award it to a company, we have a power supply planner on staff. We're constantly working to make sure that we're trying to strive for the best rate. It's not guaranteed. A lot of it is the market. When it's volatile, prices go up when we can.
What was it during the wintertime?
It was 15.2522.
Because it was way over 17 cents a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
At times, definitely.
There was a group against competition, market competition, with political pressure. Do you know if that succeeded and the competition was eliminated? Because you can get electricity for less than Cape Light
We're
Compact.
deregulated. So you have
So you can go anywhere you
you
want.
can go anywhere you want.
Phenomenal. Okay, so that stays the same.
And when you do that, you're managing your own contract then.
Right, right.
So you have to, know your contract terms.
Yeah,
know what
you have to
you're
be on
entering
top.
into.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And Cape Light Compact, when they go out and they put together this package and you go out to bid, this is all renewable energy.
Our product is 100% renewable.
Through Rex.
It doesn't mean that the energy is coming
All from solar
from a
panels.
solar directly into your home. But what we're buying is.
No, I understand. I worked for Eversource for 30 years, so I understand how that works. I just think, I'm just amazed at this. I think this is a great story, that you're beating Eversource by 2 cents a kilowatt hour. I think that speaks volumes.
supply.
We do that more than half the time.
Yeah.
And I do have a question that you're not going to have an answer to, but I'd appreciate it if you could find out My mother's house was located in Westfield, Mass.
In where?
Westfield, Massachusetts. And they have their own municipal electric company. Their prices have always been very
Yes.
low as compared to Eversource. I mean, very low.
Yep.
I don't know what Westfield is right now, but I'd love to know how Westfield is making out, because they don't worry about renewables. They just have a good group of people like you have that puts together a contract, goes out to bid. I'd like to know how you compare to them, only because I know they've done a good job, and it looks like you guys are doing a really good job. I'm just curious whether or not you're both in exactly the same ballpark. I'm gonna guess you are, but they don't care about renewables. I'm just curious whether or not when they go out to bid, and they're bidding to everybody, including gas, power plants and whatnot, how you're doing against that.
Well, I think the key, the last few go-arounds, we have stuck with Next Era, and it's Next Era that has made the commitment to the RECs and to the renewables.
Okay,
So
And
their supply currently is 6 cents.
what's that?
Their supply portion is 0.060. So we're so they're 6 cents. So they're like half.
Okay, so they're half the price of what you're getting. And would your explanation be the fact that, as far as non-renewables, they're getting for a cheaper price to be able to,
Eversource isn't blended that way.
yeah, Eversource doesn't care, and they're high.
well, yeah, but I'm just curious how Westfield does, because Westfield's always been way lower than
But
Eversource.
most municipal plants in the Commonwealth are lower.
But they're significantly lower than what you just said for us. I'm just curious why that is, that's all.
I can connect you to Mariel, who was in our office, that is our power
No,
supply
I don't want
planner.
anybody spending a lot of time on it. I was just, that's significant. I mean, it's 200% more, and I don't know why that is.
So is
Well, I
it-
do know, because renewables tend to be more
Yeah,
expensive.
non-energy, non-renewables tend to be more expensive than fossil fuels. Is that the answer?
And I don't know if
I don't know
Eversource,
how they've been.
Yeah.
I mean, they own everything. It's a municipal light plant. It's totally separate than what we are. I don't know what.
how do they
their-
generate their electricity?
They don't. They're doing exactly what Cape Light Compact
Oh,
is
so they're an
doing.
aggregator?
They go out and they go out to bid and buy their electricity. Now, Holyoke Water Power next door actually owns generation. Westfield owns zero generation. That's why I'm curious that they're
Yeah.
so much better.
Anyway,
But that's not part of this
Yeah.
meeting. I was just curious.
Moving on.
Not tell you. But if you want to talk to Mariel, we can connect you
Yeah,
to Mariel.
she would know. But it's good that the rates went down. That's a good thing.
So as you saw from Paul's presentation, we've had some good results for our energy efficiency in Harwich. During 2023, we had 275 income eligible residents participate in our program offerings and returned $323,000 and change worth of incentives to Harwich customers. For residential, we had 950 participants in our residential rolled up offerings. That's retail, that's energy.
Is all of this on your website? or-
Assessment. I can make sure that Valerie receives this presentation.
There's
Just
so
send me
many
the-
facts there, I'd like to see it.
You can just send me I'll send you the slides.
And $872,844 worth of incentives brought back to Harwich customers. In the commercial program, we had 70 participants in 2023, 428,000. So we had 1,295 participants in Harwich in 2023.
This is
and
like businesses?
1.6 million.
How much? How many million?
1.6 million
She
returned
said,
to
yeah.
Harwich.
She
Yeah,
said-
so that's a lot of savings.
This is
Compared to
businesses.
other towns, how does Harwich do?
Doing okay for your size. I don't.
Comparatively, more or less the same? I would like to know if Harwich is motivated, to save.
I'd say you're all within that, like 30% of participation of your total customer pool every year, give or take.
Okay,
You're all kind of right there.
okay.
So some highlights for 2024, we still did the no-cost energy assessments. We had the 100% weatherization incentives covered for income eligible and moderate income customers and renters. We still offered 75% incentives for market rate residential customers for home energy assessments. For heat pumps, we offered the $10,000 whole home rebate. And for partial homes, it was $1,250 a ton if you were integrating the system with your existing boiler or furnace. Because we love our heat pumps, moving everyone towards.
I understand that there are some changes coming in the fall. Do you know about it?
Oh, the rural,
Some changes to the heat pump incentives, or to what?
Yeah, what would be available for
that's for
residents?
solar, yeah.
Well, I don't know. So we have a new plan that would be filed, that we're filing, and it would be approved for the 25 to 27 term. So program offerings will evolve, change, some will reduce. You may be talking about, if you're speaking about specifically the fall, we are phasing out fossil fuel incentives. So any fossil fuel incentives that are incentivized have to be purchased and installed by August 31st, 2024, with rebates mailed in by September 30th, 2024. Maybe that's what you're talking about for a program
Well,
change?
that's interesting also. I don't know if I'm talking about that, but that's interesting also.
Okay. So I'm not
Is
exactly.
that like going from a gas furnace that's somewhat efficient to one that's more efficient or something
Right.
like that?
Any type of fossil fuel equipment, we will be phasing out and
okay.
no longer incentivizing. And so, you know, we are really gonna only be incentivizing systems converting to electric going forward.
In that $10,000, if you do that,
Yes.
do you have to, and we've discussed this, I just forget, do you have to disconnect your existing?
Fully displaced, yes.
Fully displaced, okay.
We also received a grant for an e-bike, and we offered phase 2, which was wildly successful, and was all vouchers that we had available for that program offering were have been issued. So that is really great.
How many were there?
204.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have to be, you know, you had to have an electric account, you had to be income eligible. We did a standard incentive of up to $1,200, and then we had an enhanced incentive, depending upon where you fell as well, of $1,500 for e-bikes. We have some really great, you know, appliance rebates, room ACs at $40, air purifiers, electric clothes dryers. We also have electric lawn equipment, which
Yeah,
is
like really
really,
electric
really
lawnmower.
I'm interested in buying an induction free range.
an induction stove.
Yeah,
Yep, there are rebates available, but you have to be displacing,
Fossil fuel.
yes.
Gas, do you have gas now?
electric.
On these e-bikes, what's the requirement? I mean, you say $1,500?
Income eligible,
Oh, you gotta be
Mhm.
low income, okay.
right.
And
I
how
mean, I
much-
can't get one, right?
No.
I don't know.
I bet you can.
How much was the rebate?
It's good to
for
pedal,
electric or,
Charlie.
Yeah, I know, but
bicycles?
Yeah, let's
81.
continue pedaling,
Two
yeah.
tiers, 1,200 and 1,500.
other guys,
Wow.
I got these e-bikes and they're
That's pretty
passing me
good.
out, I
Yes.
can't keep
Oh,
up with
yeah,
it.
well, I
But I
bike
think, you know,
every
sometimes
day.
people,
I
it's
see
almost
that.
like their second car. You know, if you're income eligible, you know, it's still way cheaper than trying to get a car.
I was just saying, I was out to Yosemite this past week, and they did have electric shuttle buses. Not a lot of electric vehicles around, you know, just because you're out in the middle of nowhere, but a ton of e-bikes.
Yeah, well, we have
A
e-bikes.
ton of it.
I work at the park here. There's e-bikes everywhere. All over the bike trail, all over, everywhere. Everybody's driving these
I
e-bikes.
don't understand because we need to pedal.
You still have to pedal a little bit.
I mean, unless you cannot pedal.
Right.
I think it's supposed to
Then
help
it's a
people with
motorcycle.
time. I mean, the main offering of the program is to make sure that those people without the ability to afford a vehicle and the insurance that it requires can get to work.
Something, yeah.
In a
Oh,
little
that's a
time.
great
You
idea.
know, in a little
That I
more-
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of a car, fantastic.
Right.
Right. So, and yes, the induction stoves are only for natural gas and propane. The rebate
Okay.
is
So if you had a natural gas stove and you put in one of those induction cooktops, you'd be qualified for that rebate.
Yes,
Okay, so you could
That's
set up
not
a gas
income.
furnace,
right.
but you're taking out the gas stove.
That's not income based, no?
And then CVEO, Cape and Vineyard Electrification Offering, it was a program that we had filed with the Department of Public Utilities many times over. We were able to offer it starting in 2023 truly. It is to really kind of do the trifecta approach of electrifying someone's home. It would be displacing their existing heating system if it was electric resistance, oil or propane, with heat pumps, weatherizing their home, installing solar and batteries. Again, a program that had a few different tiers, but really trying to make that home kind of like its own little microgrid. So very, very exciting news on that front for Cape and Vineyard electrification offering. We are pretty close to being fully subscribed with
How many
that as
people?
well.
I forget how many we were allowed to have.
It was like 80-20 split,
Yeah.
and then, you know, costs are high,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what an ideal situation for a low-income person, to have everything sort of self-contained and have almost no utility bills, you know, which would be the goal. You know, I think the money that.
And then looking to learn from it too,
Yeah.
you know, so the enhanced, you know, the income eligible at 60% and or under, where they, or in that deed restricted property where they're getting 100%, and then those customers that maybe are not indeed restricted but income qualified, you know, their ability to see if they can even finance something,
Right.
which is being heavily incentivized for some of that too.
Okay,
So
now,
we're looking to.
I'm
we'll
trying to
learn.
put two and two together. Your program that you just described, low-income housing that the town's looking at putting in, it sounds like a no-brainer if that was the low-income housing was,
Wouldn't qualify for this program.
okay, would
Not for this program, but that doesn't mean
Okay,
that a town-sponsored building project
Should go
couldn't-
through our new construction project.
should go through the new construction, and it should be that.
And all electric.
It should be all electric, it should have solar panels at the yin-yang, it should not cost people an arm and a leg to live there.
So I mean, what I can tell you at the end of the day is ultimately there is pretty much a program for almost anyone and everything, whether you rent or own, whether you make a penny a year or you're Bill Gates. Like, there's some way to participate in the energy efficiency programs that are offered.
so if we're doing low-income housing in town, then they should be working with Cape Lake Compact
Yes.
when they're putting that up.
Yes.
Yep. And a lot of the towns we already have established relationships with, and we
What
do
about
connect.
here in Harwich?
It depends on the project. Like, I mean, we have done things in
Who
the past.
who at Cape Lake
If
Compact
it's
would,
new construction, it would be Tatiana.
Tatiana?
If it's a retrofit,
so this would be brand new,
Yeah,
ground
so
up.
Tatiana. She would be the translator. If it's retrofit, we've done a ton of work with some of the housing projects already.
If Harwich hasn't reached out to Tatiana,
She
Could
makes
she-
sure that she tries to. She is looking for these projects and is making
Well,
phone
yeah.
calls.
okay, I'll make
So
sure
I mean,
that,
if she
yeah,
doesn't know
Yeah.
about it, yeah, I mean,
I'm
if you know
gonna-
about it, please share it.
I
with
will,
her.
I'll talk to her.
Is there a person dedicated to the cost of electricity only?
Well, there are people that work there, they're on the power supply business. I mean, they're the ones that like put
How
out the
to
R-
reduce your bill?
Oh,
How to make it more manageable?
well, that's all the
Well,
energy
that's what energy
efficiency.
efficiency, that's what we're talking about. Like what we've talked to you about, the presentation that Dan gave at that Harwich meeting,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that's ways to.
The same
you know,
thing that if you go on Saturday, it's
Okay, okay,
that spiel.
okay.
And they go through all
So
that.
it depends on what program you're interested in. So I oversee all of the implementation of the compact, but we have dedicated people that work on the programs. There's too much going on.
Okay.
So another really exciting thing that we're offering, we applied for a grant through Mass CEC, and we were awarded
Clean Energy.
the Clean Energy Center, and we were awarded a grant to be a concierge service provider for the Energy Saver Home Loan. This is to help people, cut their energy use, reduce or eliminate, their reliance on fossil fuels, and provide a loan product for a multitude of offerings. And it would be leveraging our existing energy efficiency programs through Mass Save. And so the Energy Saver Home Loan is income-based, but this one goes up to 135% of area median income.
Is this what you brought up the last time, that they're in partnership with one of the local banks? Cape
That's a
Cod-
different thing.
That's a
Another
different
one.
one.
That's
Okay.
another
We do lots of things.
Right.
What
But the thing that makes this particular, and we've talked about this too often. So let's suppose you're just average Joe homeowner, and somebody told you to call Cape Light Compact, so you did, and you got this energy audit, and then you were presented with all these options. You know, you could have insulation, you could go all electric, you could do this, you could do that. Most people, they don't go any further because it just sounds too confusing. You know, they don't know where to start, they don't know what the best program is. So what Cape Light Compact is going to try to put together is you call this number and you get like a navigator. You know, like if you're signing up for insurance, you know, you get a person who knows what's available and what would match your particular circumstances. You know, maybe you are not income eligible for this program,
Yeah.
but maybe you are income eligible for this program.
Right.
You know, and how would you know that if you were just an
Yeah.
average person? And that is going to be a game changer, I think.
And you know what my next slides were
Yeah.
about already.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know, what is the understanding by concierge? What does that mean to
Oh,
you?
That's the concierge service, someone that you would go to that helps you through the entire
The
process.
navigator.
the navigator, the hand holder.
Okay.
The
okay.
hand holder.
Okay, concierge means navigator, okay.
So this grant that you just got
Yes.
is for, once again,
So it's called the Energy Saver Home Loan Program.
yep,
It is designed to help people install all of the things that would make them more energy efficient. So let me go into some of the information.
so does that mean the concierge service that you were describing? The money that you're getting from the state,
You have
that's,
to hire people.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's not to give loans out, it's to provide this concierge service to, okay, now
Put you in touch with the loans.
so now you're gonna have Cape Light Compact, next slide.
Great.
Oh,
So this is an income qualified program as well, but it goes up to 135% of area median income. And it is for single family in up to 4-unit properties, of which you must be living in one of the units. So if you have a duplex, you have to live in one side. If you have a triple decker, you have to live in one of the levels. And it is based upon the deed and also meeting some energy reduction savings. But for Barnstable County, that would be $166,645. That's 135% of area median income. So this loan product offering is a really nice product, and being the energy efficiency provider for the Cape and Vineyard, and being able to offer this for the Cape, Dukes County, and Nantucket County as well, you know, it is providing that information so that we are taking a customer from when they contact us and guiding them through these processes. They're lengthy, there's a lot of information, confusing, and we want to make sure that we still maintain that we are your trusted source for energy efficiency information and getting that information out to the customer. The loans range from $10,000 to $100,000. You do have to go through, you know, a loan approval process. The terms are up to 20 years. So the first 18 months are interest only, and then the rest is amortized for 222 payments. If you're at 80% or below area median income, it's a 0.50% interest rate, so less than 1%. And if you are above 80 but below 135, it's a 2% interest rate. So
It's
we're
still
really
way
trying.
lower than you can get anywhere else.
I mean, right now, personal loans are going for 13%, in, you know, maybe 5 years. So it's just another option. We have local lenders, Cape Cod 5, Bay Coast Savings Bank, and Bristol Savings Bank, that are lenders available. And you know, so the eligible improvements, they are from HVAC, so for heat pumps, you know, electric stove, cooktop range oven, appliances, heat pump clothes dryers. If you need any remediation work, mold remediation, oil tank removal, as you're moving forward on the electrification journey and looking at the heat pumps, if you need, you know, an electric panel upgrade, battery storage, if there's some site work that has to happen because you also are interested in solar, some tree pruning, or if you need to do some plantings for some, you know, shade plantings that are helpful. And then it also looks at exterior doors, insulation and air barriers, roofing, windows, and heat pump water heaters. So, I mean, there's some really, really exciting solar PV. So really exciting things for people to pursue with a really nice term, and a really great interest rate.
So the grant is providing monies to keep that lower interest rate? Is that the way?
The state is providing the loans,
The state's,
or backing the loans.
the state's backing the
It's
loans?
through the climate bank.
Okay. And then the people that Cape Light Compact are gonna have that act as the concierge
Mhm.
for this, are you gonna be hiring contractors or full-time employees?
We're hiring staff.
They'll be Cape Light Compact staff.
Well, that's good. I like
They
that.
won't work for anybody else, so they have no vested interest in what you choose.
So
Yeah.
if I fall within the income requirements and I give you guys a call, then I'm going to be able to be having somebody hold my hand through the process.
So I mean, ideally, you know, you hear about this program and you're like, hey, I have been wanting to do some energy efficiency improvements. There are some requirements, again, you have to meet that 20% energy reduction, but we have the support behind the scenes to help explain that process to a customer. At least start to get your intake information, to get you, see if you qualified for the program, what are you looking to do? So if someone calls in and they say, hey, I heard about this great loan product offering. And, you know, you go, okay, great. And we've had people who are really excited. And then you tell them an income level and they're like, oh, I totally qualify. Can I have that paperwork to start the process? They would start that process. We'd get them enrolled for an energy assessment. They'd move through the process with also, there's another layer in there of the kind of energy advisor services that is connected to this, that's also helping with rebates and getting all of that information. So it's a lengthy process, but all of the support is there.
So how much money has Cape Light Compact got through this grant process? How much
It's
is?
just the staffing. for-
Okay,
I mean-
I'm asking the question the wrong way.
So if you
How
have,
much money is the state providing out there for all the towns? I mean, is
I
this
forget the
a?
total, I mean, there is a.
It's
there is-
millions.
It's,
But,
yes,
okay.
there's not, I mean,
So-
right now, they need to hit hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loans.
Okay, so the grant is for you guys to help provide that service and walk
Yes.
people through it. The state's providing the monies
Correct.
for the loans.
Yeah.
at
Backing the
low-
loans.
At the lower
And
And the
interest.
banks will process those loans. And I'm sure the bank is gonna charge part of the
Of course they're
interest
going
is
to
gonna
make
be.
money.
Yeah, they have to
Of
make
course,
money.
they're going to make
And then my
money.
last question would be, this sounds really good.
Mhm.
You're doing a nice job.
Thanks.
Because I usually struggle with trying to understand, but are you gonna be covering this on Saturday?
We won't go on to this one because we will touch upon it as an offering, but we're not gonna dive into that level of detail. We're gonna start to do additional marketing. We've
Okay.
got, we literally
They'll be
just
back.
got this.
Okay.
What is the secret number, telephone number to go,
Just the regular Cape Light
Eight
Compact.
hundred 797
You mentioned.
800, 700?
800-797-6699.
You mentioned
6699.
energy efficient.
Just a regular
797,
number.
6699.
Just roofing, so
Well, I mean, roofing is usually time dependent or based on leaks. That's when you replace your roofing. Is there some kind of thicker shingles or something that's more energy efficient than regular shingles? Or
there's a-
why do you mention that with
I
energy
mentioned
efficiency?
that because if you had a leaking roof, we would never want to weatherize without making that improvement. Number
So it's
one.
not- nothing-
Two, if someone is interested in solar, their roof needs to be
Replaced.
Right,
replaced.
and
So
is
that's
there
why
a
it's
certain
not-
kind of a roof